Welcome back to Tony and Tina's Wedding, Creating a Theater Tribe. I'm Larry.
I'm Gret.
I'm Contetta, and we have joining us.
Hey, I'm Christy. I'm usually behind the scenes, but I'm coming out of the shadows to talk about today's guest.
And that's because in today's episode, we chat with Teresa Hagar, the very first stage manager of Tony and Tina's Wedding.
Stage managing this show is a beast of a task.
And for those who assume the position, they become so much more than a typical stage manager.
They become security, waitstaff, custodian, restaurateur, roadie, therapist, and parent wrapped into one.
And Teresa accomplished all of this and more without ever having a script.
Enjoy our conversation with the person who truly held it all together behind the scenes so audiences could safely participate in the chaos.
Well, good morning, Teresa Hagar, all the way from New Jersey.
Yes.
How are you doing
Great.
this morning?
I'm doing well, doing very well. It's a nice, bright, beautiful, sunny day. So we're doing great.
That is so great. Well, I want to welcome you to this podcast. We recently were interviewing Leela Kenzel, and she talked to us about how you would drive her to New Jersey every night.
Because we lived in the same town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Teresa, that really leads me into so many of the unspoken things that you did as the stage manager for the original production, and how much you helped make everyone feel secure. And of course, we have Christy here, who has stage managed Tony and Tina as well. I would like to get your feelings about that original production. Did you work at all at Carmelita's?
I was asked whenever Stephen Holden was going to be there to
Yes.
come to the show and to drive. Nancy did not want him walking or traveling any other way. She wanted to make sure he got to Carmelita's, and that was my job.
Fantastic.
Yeah, because I met the TNT group, actually when their artificial intelligence AI group, at Very Vicky's Valentine's Day special at the new ballroom where I was working.
Oh my God, I didn't know you with Scott Gleason.
Yes, with Scott Gleason, yeah.
I didn't remember back that far.
Yeah. I was a lowly reservationist and accountant back in the back, and I'd run a follow spot every now and then, and met you guys, loved your show, and Nancy and we started talking, and you found out I was a stage manager, and she went, "Oh, we could use some help with you."
Oh, yes. Well, the original production of Tony and Tina's Wedding happened downtown in Soho somewhere, and I don't think that either you or I were involved. But then we did this show, A Very Vicky Christmas,
Right.
and Scott Gleason, who worked at the ballroom, came to see it. And that's how we then got to the ballroom and
The Valentine's Day special.
the Valentine's Day special, and met, of course, Greg Dawson, who owned the place, who was fantastic. And I don't know if you know, but he was one of our original investors when we moved to Carmelita's.
That's great.
Yeah, he and Chef Philippe. And then David Rothenberg was, I think, the press agent there.
Yeah, he was.
So we stole everybody we could from the ball.
Seems like it.
Well, it's good you did, because 2 years later it closed. So
I know it. And I loved that place. But there we were at Gus's place.
Yeah. And then you guys asked me to stage manage it, and I had the courtesy interview with Leonard.
Oh, yeah.
He's sitting in his office, and he's like, "Well, we're going to hire you, but I need to do this." And my first, of course, question was, "I'm a union, and this is a non-union show." He goes, "Oh, there's going to be no problem. There's no problem." And so the few of us that were Actors Equity called the union and said, "We're doing this show downtown called Tony and Tina's Wedding. You're below 14th Street. We don't care. We don't care."
Right.
We've heard that before.
Yeah.
Yeah. So fine, you don't care? Great. I'm going to do the show. Great, more power to you. See you. The Actors Equity did not seem to think it was a theatrical piece at that time. So I got hired, and I remember asking Larry, you, "So where's the script?" Like any good stage manager. And he said, "I don't have one." And I went, "Okay." He goes, "Here's a timeline." And he goes, "Just follow the timeline."
Wow.
Right.
Yep.
And so that's when we were getting into Gus's place, is when I joined the team.
Right.
and I became the electrician, the plumber, the HVAC, the security guard, the fire marshal,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
the chauffeur. Yeah.
Teresa, there were only two cues, lights on, lights off.
But there were all kinds of light bulbs all over that place.
Oh God, there were. That was Randall Thropp's. I mean, he wasn't the lighting designer, but he lit that place. He did a great job. So then you began there with that original company. Who was the most difficult? No, I'm kidding.
No, not kidding.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
tell us.
They all want to know who made your life miserable, but I don't think anybody did. That original company was a pretty good group.
They were, because they already knew that it took the village to make the show.
Mm.
And when we moved into Gus's, we didn't have money, or I was told that, to have cleaners come in or staff to bus tables. And
Right.
so everybody was assigned a job.
Mm.
And every actor had so many tables to bus at the end of the night and wipe them down and get them ready. And then the black family set them up the next day. I vacuumed the entire thing every day after every show. I set up the church, took down the church, swept up rice. So, right.
Right. Oh God.
All kinds of rice.
Rice.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
So, yeah, but that's why it would be hard to say somebody was a pain in my ass, because
Oh, yeah.
they knew it took everybody. It
It
took
did.
us all. I
Yeah.
injured my foot, and Jennifer vacuumed for me for a couple of days until I could get back on
I
my feet.
remember.
Yeah,
Yeah.
somebody had to come and help me set up the church. Yeah,
Yep.
so I fell stepping in that vestibule area in the original church. I just went down wrong and it's twisted my ankle for a couple of days. So, yeah. So, yeah, that's why you can't say that. Now, moving on to the second company, got a couple of pains in the butts, but you know.
Well, we'll get to that. How was it, though, to come in and to run a show that didn't have a cue sheet?
It was unreal, but also everybody kind of knew what they were doing, so that was good. I just had to make sure that other things happened. You know, that the food got delivered or got brought up, or that programs finally got downstairs when they need to go downstairs. My job as a stage manager, I've always said, is I don't have to love the show or like the show, I'm just going to make it happen. And
Right.
by making Tony and Tina's wedding happen, I love the show and the concept and the characters everybody created, and I was very, very attached to them, their characters, I have to say.
Yeah, I know that you enjoyed it because I know they made you laugh a lot.
They did.
Yes. Christy, fellow stage manager, any questions that you would like to ask this
Any
lovely
questions?
person?
I have a list,
My God.
but I'll try to start at the beginning just to go back. So Carmelita's, there was no stage manager really. They kind of was, yeah, that's what I figured for
Larry's
you, just
raising
kind of
his
giving
hand.
cues.
It was Larry and Juan.
So I
I
think
thought
Larry
that-
was very happy when I was hired.
I'm sure you were.
Yeah, because I did all of those things
Yeah.
before you came.
And then so for Gus's, I know we were talking with Sue Varon and Jay and how they used to get ready in her apartment.
Oh.
At Gus's, were they then getting ready in the apartment? They were at the dressing room then. They had a dressing room and
Yeah,
shifts.
because
Yeah.
one of the things that we had to do is we took the old kitchen and we
Mhm.
took out as much as we could out of the kitchen. And then we set up as many stations as we could. And that's when we realized
Yep.
we've got to do this in shifts. I
Right.
think
We were-
the big, huge walk-in freezers that we couldn't get out of there, we kind of put clothes racks in, and so people could have clothes in. I probably have a picture somewhere of the 3 tiers of, we had a little, everybody had a station, and you had a shelf to put your stuff in. And there were 3 of them, because there were 3 shifts that
Yeah.
had to come in. And at the end of the show was kind of same thing, kind of. The girls went in first, and the bridal party was all first, and then the blacks went in last and changed at the end. But
Yeah.
yeah, and the band having to change. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I was never in the dressing room.
we always had a pre-show meeting right before I left for the church and in the dressing room. Anybody playing a different part, anybody new. We had understudies in the house that were starting to learn
Right.
the show, things like that.
Yeah, it was so great. Yeah. We used to also have meetings sometimes out in the main room, but those were more creative meetings talking about direction and stuff. But yeah, Teresa, you were a lifesaver, okay?
Get the troops ready to go every night, every day, every show.
Yeah.
So, but the pre-show, I'm really curious because by the time I got there, there was an ASM. When did that happen? When were you able to get an ASM? Was it when it moved uptown, Larry, do you think?
I know Michael Calloway came in as a black family member. He was a friend of mine from Topeka that was a
Oh, I
designer.
remember him.
And Vinnie Blacks needed to be touched up. And
Hmm.
so he came in with his little paint tools and stuff and he touched it up. So then he was a part of the Black family. And I think I got to go on vacation. But I think Mike Calloway then took over while I went back home to visit because Mike and I actually met again later in LA when you guys had opened in LA. We
Yeah.
came out to visit, and he came from Topeka and I came from New Jersey. But that's how we got the Coliseum zoos back up. I mean, when we started, they said, don't give up your day jobs. Everybody had another job.
Yeah.
I was teaching high school at a Catholic school out here in Jersey. I had 3 or 4 classes. And they said, it's going to run maybe 3 months, maybe 6, and after 6 months, we're all going, do I keep the day job? Do I give it
Right.
up? So most people were keeping it because you're kind of liking the money. Of course, we weren't making great money, but we were making money in what we went to school to do. So, which was
Right.
nice.
Right. Right. It was nice. I know that I was booking nightclubs at that time up at Jason's, and I eventually had to leave it because I could never go see the shows.
Right.
Was at that show every night. But yeah, people would come in a little dragging from after work, and then boom, they would get it up and go to Tony and Tina's wedding. And it really was a full day for them.
I think between shows on Saturday or Sunday, some of them would help me grade papers. Jennifer loved to grade papers because I taught literature, and if I did a multiple choice question, she was like, "Some of these people are crazy."
Yeah.
But yeah, they help grade papers. So
So when you went on that vacation, was that the first time you had to like write down the cues for
Yeah.
someone else to?
no, that's why when Michael was there,
Yeah.
once he finished touching up and getting most of the places used back up, he was one of the Black family, so he was watching what I was doing, and so he just repeated what I did. I didn't
Gotcha.
have to write anything down. And now he was my
I'm just
assistant
wondering like when people
when we
started
graduated,
to-
because I went to college with Michael. And when Mike and I graduated college, I had a job in a dinner theater in Kansas City, and he came in as my assistant.
Oh, cool.
And I mean, it was I would sneeze and he'd hand me tissue before I sneezed. I mean, he was so with me. We were so
Yeah.
connected
Yeah.
that he just had to watch me do it a couple of times, and then he was doing the show. And I could go safely go away.
Awesome.
Which theater were you working in Kansas City?
It was called, Waldo Astoria and Tiffany's Attic were the two dinner theaters there.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
now been made into one, the new dinner theater restaurant, I think it's called.
Yeah, I know where that is. Yeah.
Yeah, because you did Tony and Tina's wedding at Tiffany's, didn't you? Tiffany's Attic.
Tiffany's Attic, right.
Yeah. But whenever they had moved out to Kansas now. But yeah, it's still in the same area. I go back and see shows there all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a great space.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sad to see them close those two theaters down, but Tiffany's was a good place. And it was
Yeah.
downtown, the gay area, so I expect.
Oh, that downtown area of Kansas City is just,
Yeah.
it's a fun area. Christy, you must have more questions.
Yes, obviously. So why I had brought up ASM was you talking about going to the church reminded me that that was how my track had started too before we lost the church part was I would check in. Actually here, this was my booth.
I can't
Sophia's.
believe that.
So I would go check and make sure everything was good there and then I'd walk over to set up the church. But we had an ASM that stayed at Sophia's to
Right.
make sure everything went. So I was wondering how that like worked in the very beginning days because then yeah, I would go back to the Edison and walk over with the first group to the church, I believe.
Mm.
No, they all came over, but once again, that's the beauty of that original company because they had been used to coming from points unknown across the city to get to the church and then on to where they needed to go. They knew when to leave and when to go. And I don't know if there was a captain who always said, "Up, time to go," because I had to set up the church and be there when they came. But they all
Yeah.
appeared at the church.
Yes.
Sometimes Elizabeth Dennehy came in a cab because she was on a shoot someplace, and out she popped from the cab, so.
Right. With a story of some kind. But it also is why still in the timeline, I have like when the actors leave and what time they leave to come over to go over to where they're going. And I have to adjust it each time. But that was probably the most important timing thing. And to have one of those actors to say, okay, I'm going to be the one to make sure that we get there.
Yeah, I don't know who
Yeah.
the captain was, but they always got there. And if
Mm.
there was a problem, somebody would arrive and let me know there was a problem. But very, very rarely did that happen.
Yeah, no cell phones.
I was
Yeah,
going to say,
right.
did they like physically walk over and tell you there was a,
Yeah.
because
So
that
we
would
wouldn't
have
have had
panicked me
to.
so much. Yeah.
We had no phones as a church.
Right. Oh,
We
yeah.
had, there's a phone down at Gus's place. I guess you could use his phone if you wanted to, which we did to call the police one time. But other than that, that's normal. It's Tony and Tina's wedding, so.
Oh, God.
Well, we might as well get into that story. Tell us.
Oh, well, the guys always frisked people. We were over at the Christopher Street Church. The guys always frisked people, and we had these guys, a group of guys, there's probably about 10 of them, maybe 12, off to the side, and one of them was really drunk. And so when they're being frisked, Dominic comes over and said, "These guys are carrying guns." And I went, "Okay." So I go over and I said, "I need to know if you have permission to carry the gun." And so then one guy jumps in, he says, "We're all FBI agents. I'm running this program. We're just out here having a little fun." I said, "Okay, but that guy's drunk. And he's drunk at the church and he's going to go to the reception and get drunker. I don't want him at the reception." He goes, "Oh, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. He'll be fine." We get to the reception. He wasn't fine. And then finally I said, "If you don't tell him to go, I'm calling the police." And the guy goes, "He's just going to brush me off." And so I went down to Gus's place and said, "I need a police officer." So I met two policemen downstairs
Oh my
who were
God.
tickled to death to come upstairs and take an FBI agent out.
Wow.
So then, of course, our whole audience is thinking it's part of the show.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that was the calling the cops. That was the time we had to call the cops.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah, and I remember that you were very patient, but always on it. Because I think I was like, "Are you sure you want?" You're like, "Yes, I'm calling the police."
I was done with him.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, I was responsible for the safety of that room. So
Right. Of course.
yeah, yeah. Christy, can you top that?
I don't think so. There's one show I do remember that it was just like, I don't know if Mercury was in retrograde or something, but it was wild. It started with the church of people getting offended somehow. And you think back, you're like, but there's not even anything offensive, but they thought we were like making fun of religion or whatever. And they got up very vocally, made a big scene and left the church. But that was that. And then there were people, it was the same night, people were like doing cocaine on tables, like audience.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those where it was like at the end of the show, you hold the door open for people and it's like, "Congrats, you've survived. We all made it through. You're good. We're good now."
Wow.
Yeah, just that one. But there were a bunch of other
So,
things.
so you never had to take anybody to the ground.
I never took anybody to the ground. I never had to call the cops. Never had to call an ambulance.
So casually.
Thankfully. Wait, I was always told the horror story of Joe Dallo breaking open his head. So it was like
God.
the
Oh,
thought of having to
God.
do that freaked me out. So I'm so
Right.
glad it never happened.
We had an audience member who came in, and he really wasn't the person who had the tickets. But Jim
Oh.
gave him his seat anyway, and he came in and he was a little high, and it was like, okay, we've dealt with this kind of person before, and he was having a great time, and he really wasn't drinking because I asked the bartender, "You need to cut this guy off soon." He goes, "He's drinking Coke." I said, "Oh, he's doing something else then." And so,
Right.
but he was just like into the party, a tall, lanky, gay man, into the party, having a great time. And I'm going, it's good to have a great time. I was trying to keep him out of the middle. Well, it comes to the Madeline Strip.
Uh-oh.
And he was like, "Whoa, yeah." He's in the middle of the dance floor with her. And of course, everybody knows to move people away. Nobody could get him away. And I'm going, "Oh, shit." So I kind of get behind him and I say, "You need to come off and yell." "No, no, 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 no." And finally, I just shoved him towards that staircase and he stopped. And he was bigger than me. I had less pounds on me. And I went right up over the back of him. And then I just rolled him down and we're on the ground. And next thing I see is Jim's feet. So the company manager's feet are right here. And then Tony comes running up the steps and he goes, Mark Nasser goes, what the fuck?" And I was like, "Hi, Tony." And I was telling the guy, guy,
Wow.
hey, it's okay, calm down, calm down. We're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. It was just like I couldn't get him off the dance floor, and
Oh,
then just trying to
Wow.
move him. And anyway,
and we called an ambulance at least once, didn't we?
uh, hmm.
Didn't we have somebody who had a heart attack or
Oh.
somebody?
Oh, audience member, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
that,
geez.
and once again, you can keep going on with the show, but
Wow.
it's just kind of slowing things down a little bit until when the ambulance gets there to get the person out. So
Teresa, do you remember the dripping water on those plastic things that we put up over the tables?
mhm, mhm.
Oh,
The
God.
condensation from the air conditioning, yes.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
we'd kind of all stand back and look, is it going to hold? Is it going to hold? It did.
Oh.
It held, and then we had to figure out how to empty it without drenching the whole place because that carpeting up there was just disgusting.
Yeah. Yes,
Absolutely
it really was.
Gus's places, yeah.
Yeah, it had had everything possible spilled on it. Yes.
Yep, I'm sure it had.
I'm
So-
glad to hear that the type of venue remained consistent.
Because it's the best. Well, the first year we decorated for every holiday and we didn't take anything down and it just stayed up.
Yes.
And I found in the trash driving through Jersey, I found a velvet Elvis and I grabbed that and we put that up in the Coliseum. It was great, you know.
Oh, perfect.
I feel like we still had that at. Do you remember?
Quite possibly.
I for
That's
sure.
funny.
Yeah.
That-
Uh,
Do either of you know how many cues there actually are in the show?
no, two.
One the lights up and
Larry.
lights down.
Larry's sticking to the two.
He's sticking to
Between
the two.
all the lighting cues and between all the sound cues.
Well, for you go first, Teresa.
Christy got a show that you had more technology. I had a band.
Right.
and,
Sure.
and another union to deal with, but I had a band and they did the songs they were supposed to do, and those were our cues. And so we finished these two numbers, and oh, that song's playing. That means I got to get ready for this.
Right.
So when certain song's playing, I got to get up to the dais to turn the lights down in the house so that Tony can give his toast and Barry can
Right.
give all the Barry toasts. And then the lights came up, the songs would go again. And so you was nothing to call. And I know when I saw the show that Barry was using something on his wrist to cue music. And it's like, no band. Oh my, that just cut some of your costs, that's for sure. So he was just one person running around where I had a band and people there, humans there. And one time, one of the band leaders about fainted during their break. I put her in the dressing room, put ice on her neck and waited and waited. I said, "You're going to be all right?" She said, I can finish this. I said, "Are you sure?" And she said, "Sure." But when we rushed her to the hospital after that, she had an allergic reaction to something.
Was that
man.
But she's being a trooper. And Jean Sinodinas, the second sister, the nun, she came up to me after the service at the church and she's like, "There's something in my eye." So we went back to the dressing room and we tried to figure it out. I said, "I don't see anything, I don't know." And so I said, "Can you do the show? Can you finish this?" And she goes, "I think so. I'll work my way around it." So she was kind of holding her eye and said, yeah, I think I've got some in my eye. That's how she played the rest of the show. As soon as the show was over, I mean, we were 3 blocks from the hospital. I put her in the car, over the car. And somehow she got a very small piece of glass right in
Oh my
embedded in her eye.
gosh.
And they had to take it out. So she wore a patch for like 2 weeks.
I
But she
remember.
loved. She loved it. Spitball. She said, "Spitball those kids in parochial school."
Oh my
Spitball.
gosh. Yeah, that's great material.
Right? For Terry especially.
For Terry especially is right.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that the trickiest cue was when it was time to tell the band to begin playing after dinner. Like
Yes.
when that was really the only cue that really you had to like look at certain amount of things and then say, "Okay, let's go."
Yeah.
Second half.
Right.
Yeah, but no light cues other than that, sound cues other than that. So that's how we started. I mean, it's
Right.
great with technology, things have evolved so much. So
I would go from city to city after that, and people would say, "Let's talk about the light plot." And I would be like, "I don't know what you're talking about. You hang like 3 lights, make
Couple
sure the
dance
audience,
lights.
make sure the audience can see what they're eating,
yeah.
and that's it." They were so happy with that because the more complicated we became with lights, the more it felt like a show instead of just real. Because we did have a lot of lights in Las Vegas, didn't we, Gret?
We did, but I feel like that might have been because of the nature of the space.
It was, but then you have to deal with lights in people's eyes and
Right, right.
Mm.
And
And
we
yeah.
were constantly moving tables around to make that space feel like it had been set specifically for that group coming in because it was such a huge space in
it
Las
was a
Vegas.
tent, Teresa. So the
It was like
acoustics
a
were terrible.
yeah, semi-permanent tent. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had to fill it somehow with lighting and tables, spreading out the table.
Yeah.
They were never the same twice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Christy?
I was just gonna bring it up to date with what the cues looked like when I was there because I still had the live band, thankfully.
Right.
So when we had the church, oh, and even when we were at Sophia's with the church, ultimately at the church though, it's funny because the cues were on like a mini disc, which was the only time I've ever used a mini disc
Oh
player.
my gosh, I forgot about mini discs.
This literally the only time. So I had the cues in the church and just lights up, lights down in the church. And then, yeah, we had canned music for dinner. So it was communicating with the band to turn that off. But
I had a boom box in the church.
Oh my gosh.
I
That's
set
even
the boom
better.
box up in the balcony and put the tape player and it played.
Wow.
That's
The bridal
awesome.
march.
I love it.
Oh,
Oh
that's
my
so
gosh,
good.
that is incredible.
Yes. Oh my God, I
Sorry, I
forgot.
had to throw that in. Yeah, I had a boom
Yes.
box in the church. We had to be particularly careful with that because I couldn't set it down anywhere outside because I'd carry it back and forth because you couldn't leave the church because it'd go, it'd disappear.
Right.
Right?
And I chased somebody who I'd set it down to go do something, and I turned around and somebody's walking away with the boombox. I'm going, "Give me that!" That big New Yorker face.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead about your cues.
That was it, Rich.
I remember following you around during one of the pre-shows, Christy, and just you set up so much before the show begins. Like you had all the fake drugs, all the fake liquor, all the presents, and there's so much setup, right? Was that pretty much the same for you too, Teresa?
A lot of that. Some of the guys like to do their own drugs. At that point, I had to go buy them.
Right.
So I
Oh,
would
Yeah.
get the herbal cigarettes.
Same. I had to go get the tea
Yeah.
leaves for
Yeah,
Batteries,
I would
the
with the
batteries.
BJ's every other weekend to get the olives for Tina's to put on her fingers.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
She put those
and
black
and all
olive.
the gum
I love it.
and all the varieties of gum. Donna had to
Yeah.
have a gum she could blow a big bubble with.
That's
Somebody
right.
else had to have one that would snap, and everybody had a different flavor. And I was like, oh my God. So,
Hey, you're a
Uh,
nice stage manager. We
yeah.
got what we got.
I mean, mine weren't that picky on the gum, thankfully.
I had the original company. They used to buy it themselves. Now they have somebody to buy it for them.
Yeah.
That might not be nice.
That's
Yeah.
right. I think Donna was the only one who got the special gum because of the bubble.
The bubble.
But
Yeah,
everybody
the
else
leftover.
got what you got.
Yeah.
And in fact, I don't think anyone else was allowed to chew gum.
I know Connie for sure had because she would
Yeah.
do
Right,
it at
Connie
the
had to.
church, yeah.
Right.
But
Um,
everybody else, it's
Yeah.
not in the budget, friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it ended up on the floor.
Yeah,
Yes.
of the tent. Right.
Right.
Oh, quick prop story that just popped into my head. So between the church and the wedding, when we would go back, the last two out would always be Father and Michael. So I would walk with them. And we would always stop at the deli and buy Michael a coffee to walk in with. And at one point when we switched producers, they were like, yeah, we're going to cut that because we don't need to spend the money on it. And I don't know if you knew this, Larry, but we used to take the money out of the dollar dance, and that's
Oh, of
how we would
course.
pay for it. Because we were like, no, he still needs to walk in with the coffee. This is absolutely.
Well, Joe was a very good producer in that he wanted the show to be good. It was Leonard who was the tightwad, but he had to be. I'm
That was
sure.
his job. That was his
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
general manager. Yeah, it was his job.
Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because you'd always say to Joe, could we have this need be? Yeah, sure. And then like Leonard would call 5-5. Okay, you can't have that.
I mean, it's a huge cast. I can imagine there were
Yeah.
several
Lots of
requests
demands.
that had to be. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were. Yeah, you had to decide what you really would ask for. And I'm sure that both of you went through that. But in the beginning, sometimes I'd just be like, we can't do that. Because one of the things that I loved, which I'm sure Teresa was part of cutting, was that Jack first would get his plate filled with food. And he'd be like the last person. And then he would spill the food on the dance floor.
Oh God.
Safety
Oh
first.
God.
Do you remember this, Teresa?
Yes.
I
Yes.
think you let me do it once. Okay.
Too many people walking on the dance floor. Sorry. Safety, safety,
Yeah,
safety.
that's right.
But it was just such a real and wonderful moment. And he may have actually done it on purpose. But then he's like, can I keep that bit in? Can I keep that bit in? And I was like, Teresa will kill me. Keep that bit in.
Not because who else is going to clean up the mess? We did not have any other staff.
No.
I'd have to send the black family out. They'd all argue about it. Who's going to pick it up? I mean, it
Right.
would be a nice bit, yes.
Right.
But it
Jeff was
had
like, I'll clean it. I'll clean it up. I was like, no, you won't.
because
No.
when he finished cleaning it up, you know what it would look like because he's out of his mind anyway. So it would have been still all over the
Oh,
floor.
God. Can you still eat ZD?
Actually, today I can. I do it rarely, but yeah, took me quite a few years after
all
doing
had the ZD
three years
trauma,
of the
don't
show.
worry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's right.
Teresa, tell us a little bit about what you're doing today, because I know that you have a lovely job today.
Today I'm the production coordinator at Paper Mill Playhouse here in Millburn, New Jersey. We're won the Tony for Regional Theater in 2016, the year after I joined the theater. So
Wow.
very grateful to get there. I had applied to be a stage manager there for many years before, the company manager, assistant house manager, and finally this came up and it's a perfect fit. I get to work with Green of Franklin Green Productions is our production manager. So she runs a pretty tight ship and is not an easy personality to deal with sometimes. And so that's where I come in because they've called me the duck because it goes off me. And that's the years of being a stage manager.
Yeah, that's
You
Yeah.
right.
are. You and Christy have a similar energy in that you're like, okay, fine. You're not going to get too ruffled by the nonsense of actors.
Right. Well, unless it's going to interfere with the safety of the show, the running of the show, or you try to mess with one of my actors, then
Yeah.
we'll have words.
Right.
We'll have,
Yeah.
Right.
because there was a guy that wanted to get back in the office and get his program early. And I kept telling him no. And so finally he came after me and he punched me and
Ooh.
knocked me against the wall. Larry was there. And I'll tell you how I remember you were there in a minute. And I said, sir, that is assault. Get out of here because it was like, I can't hit him back. But you're messing with my reality of what I need to keep control of.
Yeah.
So everybody left and the audience was gone and the cast was getting changed. And I'm still pacing by the bar. And Larry comes up to me and he punches me on the shoulder and he goes, are you okay? You want a little action? You want a little action? I said, Larry, stop. Larry, stop. He kept punching me. And I took him to the floor. And then when I took him to the floor and I was sitting on top of me, he goes, feel better now? I said, yeah, thanks.
I did remember that.
That's spectacular.
Aw.
Great. I love
What
it.
a
Yeah.
right. What a
Yeah.
great team.
No, but it was like he knew I needed to get the steam out, and I
Yeah.
knew I
Yeah.
was trying to walk it off, and so I
Yeah,
just
there was
happened
no
fast.
way. Yeah, I remember a couple of people that were really annoying, but that person especially.
Yeah, you had those, and back
Yeah.
then we had those. But it was a beautiful time. It was a wonderful show. It was great fun because the great things you remember are the people that, as they're leaving, all of a sudden you hear somebody go, "What? This is a show? These were your friends?" And you're like going, yeah, that's
Yes.
good. We did really good with that. So,
Yep.
and with those are the times you remember, or when somebody wants to pull a prank on a friend and they bring you a shoe, for example, a prop that they gave me, and the guy goes, could you put that on our table? Our table is numbered, and we're meeting friends. And he had a whole story about how these two couples met on vacation and have been passing this shoe along for years. And so I said, oh, sure, why not? So I take it back, I find the table, I put the shoe on it, and those two are the friends were the first who came in. Where did the shoe come from? How do you know where?
I love that.
That's great.
So you got to help people make things happen for themselves.
Yep.
And that then made their time at the wedding even more fun and just to have a good time. I mean, it was a good
Yeah.
time.
Did you have
Yeah.
any engagements? We had a few engagements over the years, like people coming to ask for
Oh,
doing it during the show.
Boy, I don't remember that
I
we.
don't
Because
think
that
that
just
we,
reminded me of it.
yeah, I don't think we
forgot about
allowed
that.
it at first because it kind of broke the world, and
Yeah.
we never wanted to give the audience the microphone.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't
Right.
happen often. I feel like it was a very like
Yeah.
particular special thing if it did. Like if it
Yeah.
was a corporate or somebody bought it out or something. I
Yeah.
think
Oh
we
no, Raphael and
but
Jeff wanted us to do it every other day in Las Vegas. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
we had to have some things. I did want to tell you, if you didn't know, what was the show that Johnny Tamara did?
The Wanderer.
The
The
Wanderer.
Wanderer, yeah, that was a fun show
And
for us.
it was. And Johnny
It was great.
Tamaro and Joe Barber are both TNT
In it,
alum.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
Jolie.
well,
Jolie.
Oh, and Jolie. Yeah, how could I
Yeah.
forget Jolie? Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the last name of the person. We had a young lady on Frozen for our Christmas show that they were looking for a puppet PA, someone during rehearsal to help take care of the puppets. And this resume, Suzanne, comes across my desk, and she toured with Tony and Tina's wedding. And I went, "Pfft, hire her. Because Tony and Tina's person
Yeah, we like
has
that.
some puppet experience. They're going to work. They're going to get it done. They're going to get it done
Yeah.
right because she's lived in the world of reality with what she has to do.
Right, absolutely.
So that was fun to see that come on. And
Well, I'm sure she appreciated that.
yeah, so, but then she worked hard and she was with us until we opened, and then she had to go away because we couldn't afford her any longer. But that's the way it goes.
As it happens, yeah.
Yeah.
How do you find theater in New York, New Jersey now? Do you feel that it's thriving? How is it doing?
I think it's hit and miss personally. The audience purchasing tickets has changed. How they purchase tickets. We went from a subscriber base of 16,000 before the pandemic to 10,000 stayed with us during the pandemic. And we're back up to 12 now. And it's been 6 years.
Mm.
So we are discovering that people like to buy show by show more so at the last minute. We go into New York less frequently now to see shows, not because we don't want to. I mean, we have some coming up we want to see. So we're very selective. I mean, and in theater, as a theater person, I'm very selective of what we do. Also, you're getting older, you got to schlep in, and it's not as easy as it used to be running around the city. So there's things like that we take into consideration. But I think it's coming back slowly. It's a different generation coming up.
Mhm.
I mean, I worked for Theater Works USA a year or so after I left Tony and Tina's wedding, I guess. I started taking out children's theater tours. Of course, I went to work with Struthers Library Theater right after Tony and Tina's wedding. And I was like, oh gosh, do I remember how to put the book together? You know, because I'd done almost 1,000 weddings.
It's so funny you say that because my first gig after Tony and Tina was the TheaterWorks Junie B. Jones show, which
Oh.
is how I met you that first time. And we never
Yeah.
talked about Tony. Like we didn't.
All right. It was all right.
Which
'cause
was
I
wild.
working in the
And then I
office at
found
that
out
point.
later that you were the original. I was like, how did I not know that at the
Wow.
time? It's crazy.
No, that's okay because the stage manager's usually not in the front.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but I think if the children's theater keeps entertaining children and they keep growing up, and hopefully they'll be coming and putting themselves in our seats and partying and having good times, and
Yeah.
and Tony and Tina's wedding will evolve. Have you guys ever thought about doing a Tony and Tina's destination wedding? That
Ooh,
seems to
Harry.
be the thing. Our daughter got married in Sicily. It was a destination wedding.
It sure is.
Love
That is
that.
a destination wedding.
Yeah.
That is a
Yeah.
destination wedding.
It was a trip, let me tell you. Well, his family's from Italy, and he's now has dual citizenship, United States and Italy. He
Wow.
grew up here, he's born here and all that, but he wanted to get dual citizenship. So,
Yeah.
Where did you go? What part of Sicily?
boy, I'd have to go look it up because it's a big blur, and Roz really took care of most of that. I just got on the plane.
Yeah. Weddings are a blur unless you're the stage manager of one.
Yeah. Yes. And I didn't have to stage manage this one, so
That's
it was
right.
great.
And speaking of my ASM, Melissa, who was my mic in college, like that's what she did for me, and she came on with me. She was my wedding planner the day of my wedding. I was like, you're coming anyway. Can you do this for me? And she
Yeah.
did. She stage managed my wedding, and it was amazing.
Yes, I've been asked to do that to several friends and families.
I've never done it before, but I'm glad she was there to do it for me.
Maybe it's in
Well,
your future, Christy.
Yes, you could do it.
I don't know.
The Teresa and Christy Wedding Planning Organization.
Oh, there it is.
Got a new
Yeah.
business right there.
There it is.
And Teresa, do you plan to just stay at that paper mill? Are you enjoying it? When do you retire?
Well, I wanted to retire this year, but Trump has not helped me with that. So I'll be staying another season. So probably next season would be unless things continue to do what they're doing. But anyway, when I got on in the office there, I was like, this is my retirement job. This is where I go out.
Yeah.
And it's actually having been involved so immersively in theater for so long, it's the easiest way to go out because I'm a part of everything that's happening. I
Sure.
still am with the stage managers and working with them. I'm paying bills. It's another part of my brain that I'm working on, but it's pleasant and I can ease my way out and not feel like, oh, that was my last show. I mean, I'm sure I still will feel that way on my last show,
Right.
but
Right.
yeah, but hopefully that will be by next year. Yeah.
Yeah, well, congratulations. That is great. And really, thank you for spending this time with us.
Oh,
Christy has
Can I have one more question?
one more
Christy,
question.
I promise
Christy.
that's it. I was just wondering how long you stayed with Tony and Tina. And did you stay in New York or did you go to LA? How did that work with the second company?
I was actually asked to stay in New
Okay.
York. When everybody was planning on going, I kept thinking, okay, I guess I'm going to Los Angeles. Okay. And then Larry came to me and he said, we need you to stay. And I totally understood. And he wanted somebody that knew the show and would take care of the show. And that to me meant a lot because
Yes.
he was putting the whole thing in my hands. So the second company became my second family again.
Mhm.
And boy, the transition, I worked a lot when there was a transition because we did
Sure.
9 shows a week. And I had, well, half of them were the first company, half of them were the second company. We're
Oh my gosh.
melding them all together, moving them around
Yep.
so that they all could learn. And then after that, putting in people became routine and we
Mhm.
got used to it. But of course, the second company is the one who was able to do the contract, the Actors Equity
Right.
contract.
Oh, I was wondering when that came in too. So, okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
so of course now, after
Mhm.
those years of saying, "Oh, you're below 14th Street, we don't care about you," we send a company to Los Angeles, and Actors Equity is going, "Wait a minute."
That's when it happened. Yeah.
They went after LA, that company, and then they came after us. Well, for some reason, they didn't think we spoke to each other. I don't know. But I did find in my files copies of the LA contract, which I
Wow.
found. I said, how did I get these? Okay. But I was one of the ones that helped negotiate. They wanted us to come in and they all wanted us to join, want you to take on this contract. And they told us what the initiation fee would be. And I stood up and I said, sorry, you didn't give that to the LA company. They came in for $200 less. I think LA company came in for 800 and we came in for 1,000. And I was already in, so it
Gosh, it
didn't
was
matter.
still so
And I went,
expensive back then. That's
Yeah.
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. And I went, no,
Mm.
I'm going to tell these guys to vote it down. You guys didn't want us before. You
Right.
didn't want us. Now you want us our extra money. And so oh guys, Zelina Hussein, she was like, oh, okay. And so she had to leave and come back because we weren't talking any further. I wouldn't let her talk any further.
Yeah.
Right.
Good for
Teresa came
you.
in with the receipts. She was
Right?
like, look.
Yeah.
You're my hero.
Yeah.
Wow, that is
So, but
awesome.
then we took the cabaret and dinner theater contracts and we kind of mushed them together.
Right.
And it was Gene and I's idea to do the sliding pay scale, which helped the producer, which helped the actor, which made you have to earn your way up to better money, but you could earn your way up
Yes.
to better,
Yeah.
so that was an interesting process. And I found that the original contracts, because I remember going through all those contracts, I mean, reading one and the other. And
Oh,
so,
yeah. LA was a crazy time because we felt like they were trying to stop us from opening in a way, and they came right before we were going to open.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I was not looking to become a member of Equity, so they banned me because I was very vocal. I was really upset that it took that long for them to do it.
Yeah,
But
they should have been after us soon after we for
yeah,
6 months in New York. They should have been after us.
no, and they were saying, okay, well then you can do it, but you can't use that person because they're Equity, that whole BS line.
Yeah,
So
yeah. They kept saying, "Oh no, we don't care. You're not one of our shows." Well, we are now, and I think it's better for the actor. I mean, there's other kind of protections that
Yes.
you didn't get.
Oh,
So,
sure.
but
I never minded it once it got in because people like you really fought for it to be a good contract for them because
we'd
you know,
already worked under some shitty contracts. We didn't need to create another one.
Right.
oh, Lord.
Yeah, yeah, that was my fun part. I was with the show for about 3 years. I think I totaled up to 936 performances.
Wow.
Somebody said, "Why didn't you go to 1,000?" Said it wasn't in the cards, so I didn't go for
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can always lie anyway.
1,000.
I did
But I tell you, it took me
1,001.
a long time to eat ziti, and it took me a long time to get in a crowded room again.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah.
So
Yeah. But we get a wedding invitation and I'm like, oh, I just can't do it.
I'm going to one in 3 weeks in New Jersey, and I'm like,
the
oh,
readings. The readings
really?
kill me. I'm like, oh my God. Every
The
time.
readings, right.
Every time.
I don't know if any of you experience this, but I probably once a week have a nightmare.
Yes.
Tony and Tina's what? It's a Tony and Tina's wedding nightmare. Like
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm always in the basement at Sophia.
they're always somewhere where the cast is not showing up on time and we have to replace them. I mean,
That's so funny.
it's not that funny, really.
No,
Because
it's funny because mine is the reverse angle. Mine is always I'm going into a new character. I never looked at this role. I have no idea what to do. Nobody's being nice to me and helping. Like
Yeah.
it's always the reverse angle.
well, I think that it is an intense experience to be involved in the show. I find it different than every other theater project that I've done, just because, we've talked about this, but it creates this family and that continues. And Teresa, I know that you still stay in contact with some people
yeah.
from that time. So this podcast really is about not just the original company, but about the friendships that have lasted and existed that are from everybody else's companies here that have overlapped. And really, it's a huge family. And even though the birth pains were difficult and the stretch marks are still there, we survived. And we have such great friends from that, just very excited about that.
Yep, and I do most anything for any of them. So
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, do you want to say anything else or forever hold your peace?
well, the stage manager is not used to being in the limelight, though, except for the pre-show talk, which I usually had a
Yeah.
But no, I thank you. I appreciate you having me on. And long live Tony and Tina's wedding. Let's keep it going. Yeah, props.
Here, here.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Thank you, Teresa. And that original company could not have happened without you.
No.
It's great. It's just a terrific memory. So thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
All right.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Nice meeting you. Nice seeing you again, Christy.
Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you.
All right. Bye now.
Bye. Tony and Tina's Wedding, Creating a Theater Tribe is a production of Virtual Arts. If you like this episode, please make sure to like, subscribe, and give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And join us over on Instagram to see photos and archival materials related to the episodes. Join us next time for our conversation with original Sal Antonucci, Vinnie Floriani.